Greetings from my home in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and thank you. I feel really honored to be part of this truly global event and to be among so many distinguished participants who are all focused on the broad goals of women's advancement and women's entrepreneurship. I've loved my diplomatic career, loved being an American diplomat, and loved being in public service. As a diplomat for the United States, I think it's probably true of any country's diplomats, one of the great joys is seeing history play out at first hand. I've certainly felt that way, serving in Washington and abroad in places such as Russia, the Philippines, Kazakhstan, Geneva, Iraq, to name a few. As diplomats, of course, we're not just seeing, not just passively observing history, but often contributing to it in ways sometimes small and sometimes large. As the U.S. ambassador to Mongolia, I certainly like to think I'm contributing in some substantial ways to a relationship that really matters for both countries. My government and my embassy are helping Mongolia and Mongolians maintain their hard-earned democracy, their rights to live freely, to pursue their religious beliefs, and to express themselves on social media without censorship, to name a few. And we're helping Mongolia retain the sovereignty that its people value so much in a country in a really tough neighborhood, by which I mean that it's fully surrounded by its two giant neighbors, Russia and China. Whenever we do that, whenever we help, it gives me a real charge because I get an enormous amount of satisfaction from contributing to the betterment of the world. Often we diplomats contribute to addressing and solving immediate problems or crises, and of course this is tremendously satisfying. Simultaneously, though, we're working on addressing systemic challenges, gender equality, and advancing the role of women in business and political life, and in so many other realms, are certainly among these. Those goals are something that I intellectually believe in, of course, but they're also something that has been reinforced in me when, in my assignments abroad, I've met impressive women who truly have contributed to something major. And they've been reinforced in me, no less, when I've met women who have harbored great ideas but who could not implement them because of some element of their country's system or society that holds back women's initiatives. Whether it's because of a glass ceiling at the highest levels of their governments or corporations, or social biases pressuring women to take care of the entire household, which in effect means giving them a second unpaid job, such examples of hindrances to progress have made clear the importance of contributing to the advancement of women. Change can occur on its own, driven by shifting attitudes and social pressures and even economic necessities. But the pace of change also depends on having strong leadership and excellent organizational structures that push to make those advances. Her future summit is a great example, with the forum being an engine of leadership and the organization of it to bring together so many elements in order to hold a successful summit being no less important. And for that, I congratulate you. But I'm proud that the United States also offers an example of both leadership and organization in so many ways. Gender equality and the advancement of women and girls have long been high priorities of my government. U.S. government officials from our presidents on down have long been playing leadership roles. Since 1995, the U.S. Department of State, where I work, has offered an example of an important organizational structure. That is, we've had a specific office dedicated to spearheading my government's efforts to promote those values abroad. It's called the Secretary's Office of Global Women's Issues. It's headed by an ambassador at large, and it has played an invaluable role promoting the rights and empowerment of women and girls. Of course, we have not always gotten it right, both in the United States and more specifically in the Department of State, but the progress we've made makes me hopeful that we are on the right track and can continue to improve. The bulk of our jobs as diplomats is to foster positive change abroad, and much of this work lies with our embassies and consulates. That's one reason I love working at U.S. missions abroad, like I am now. Let me describe the ways that the U.S. Embassy in Mongolia, which I now lead, does so, because I think it offers an instructive case study. Leadership is something really important, and I take it very seriously, of course. That's why I take every opportunity to stress, both within our embassy and outside, just how much of a priority gender equality and supporting women's entrepreneurship is to me and to my colleagues. Internally, the Department of State has not gotten everything right as far as gender equality is concerned, far from it, but leadership requires acknowledging and fixing mistakes. This includes centering and addressing diversity and inclusion issues, which is why I'm really thrilled that my colleagues recently organized a Diversity and Inclusion Council for the embassy. That council brings together American and local staff members from our embassy to find new ways to raise consciousness and find creative ways to advance our goals. I love the fact that we Americans and our Mongolian colleagues at the embassy work so well together. You might say we're feeding off one another, learning from one another, and the results are some creative ideas that only this kind of collaboration can really generate. Externally, outside the embassy, my colleagues and I take every opportunity to attend conferences and workshops and other events to manifest to Mongolians our support. That's really meant to show both leadership and support to those in Mongolia pursuing these aims. In fact, in the last few weeks, my colleagues and I have attended a Forbes magazine event celebrating the accomplishments of women in business, and a Mongolian Women in Tech Forum at which young women up and coming in the IT world have shared their experiences, shown their accomplishments, including some very cool new apps, and planned for the future. We're not just showing support for the efforts of others, of course, but also leading the way with our own U.S. government programs. We're happy to implement the Empowering Women in Tech workshop and speaker series later this year to connect American and Mongolian women entrepreneurs, to train, provide guidance, and share challenges as well as opportunities that they both face. We also look forward to using a speaker series to inspire girls and young women to pursue academics and careers in the science, technology, engineering, and math, that is the so-called STEM fields. The embassy also supports Mongolian entrepreneurs, male as well as female, through classes at our makerspaces in our American corners, which are located in various of this country's cities. Our makerspaces are open to visitors of all ages, but it's interesting that the majority are female students and entrepreneurs who attend trainings on things like coding, redesign, and animation. The fact that we continued these classes virtually, even during the pandemic, is something that we're proud of. Our government has a wealth of other programs to foster our broad gender equality goals, and our embassy has worked hard to ensure they're successful in Mongolia as well. The United States Agency for International Development, which is widely known throughout the world as USAID, has an effective program in Mongolia, for instance, to encourage women, as well as young people, to become more active in the political process, a realm in which both of those groups have been historically underrepresented. In the entrepreneurship realm, USAID also has a terrific program in Mongolia to support small and medium enterprises, and women are among the program's main targets of support. As many of you no doubt know, exchanges are an important instrument for advancing goals such as women's empowerment. We in the U.S. government, including very definitely our embassy in Mongolia, are using these to great effect. We're implementing an exchange program called Tech Girls for the first time here in Mongolia this year. The program includes 8 months of mentoring and a 27-day experience in the U.S. that connects and supports the next generation of women leaders in those same STEM fields that I talked about by providing them access and opportunities to advance their skills and pursue their dreams. This year, 3 young Mongolian female students will participate in the core program, travel to the U.S. for job shadowing at a tech company, and gain community service experiences as well as homestay experiences. We also have a terrific exchange program through the Study of the U.S. Institutes, it's called SUSIs, for young women leaders. These are intensive 6-week summer academic programs that provide undergraduate female students with a deeper understanding of the United States while simultaneously enhancing their leadership skills. The program provides young women opportunities to discuss with their international peers current U.S. and global women's issues like progress and opportunities for women's leadership, combating violence against women, addressing income disparity, and other challenges to women in the workplace, things like women's health issues, and the ways in which women can contribute to global peace, security, and stability. The program has been running in Mongolia since 2013, and we're very proud of it as well. Well, I focused here on some of our program programs of the embassy, but diplomacy involves much more than that as well. In the case of our embassy, we're regularly discussing women's issues with the Mongolian government, with officials, with international organizations like the UN here in Mongolia, business groups, civil society, and many, many others. This is, of course, just a microcosm of what's going on globally, which is why I've cast it as a kind of case study here. I see these efforts as helping create the conditions to make it easier for women entrepreneurs to thrive and giving them growing amounts of skills to do so. It's a really exciting process with what I consider a very positive momentum. And that's why I'm excited that my embassy colleagues and I are part of it. So I wish all of you, I wish all of us success in this effort. And I again thank you very much for inviting me to this conference. Thank you so much.